คุณแคโรไลน์ลูกสาวของคุณHarald Link. Good morning and welcome to the Insider, the program that will take you to the exclusive look into political, social and economic development of this country. I am Major General Virachon Sukhontapatipak. This week I'm still at the Dr. Harald Link building, home of B.Grimm, and I am here with Mr. Harald Link, the chairman of the company. Last week we discussed about the history, and this week we will talk to him, discuss with him about the future of this country, the future of B.Grimm. So let's join me with the conversation with Kun Link.
And I think a great thing about Thailand is, if you talk about economy, is that Thailand can stand on so many feet. So we have very thriving agricultural sector, food for the world. We have a fantastic tourism industry, and we have great industry. Now, one reason why industries like to come to Thailand is because of the really good industrial parks. So we started in Amata Industrial Park, joined with them, and we built a power plant to supply both to the government and to over 100 factories in this industrial plant. And I tell them all the time, Thai people can have the same standard and the same achievements as anybody else in the whole world.
This week we still at the Dr. Harald Link building, home of B.Grimm, and with me this morning, Mr. Harald Link or Kun Link, chairman of B.Grimm. So this week, I'd like to talk to you about the economic policy of the current government. The government now introduced a lot of projects in order to move the country forward, particularly in the area of economy. For example, the Prime Minister introduced the special economic zone along the border between Thailand and neighbors countries. What is your opinion on this special economic zone?
As I mentioned earlier, I think one of Thailand's great advantages are the industrial parks. So you get all the industries in one location where you get really good infrastructure for them with water treatment, with electricity, telecommunication, all kinds of amenities. So it's much easier to administer. So special economic zone goes into the same direction.
Sorry, just want to clarify here that the Prime Minister said that it will not be just like the economic, it's the industrial estate. It will be a cluster business where you can have the service sectors, hospitality sectors, industrial sectors in that area.
Yes.
It would be like living area, entertaining area, for example, something like that. It's like a cluster of business in the province nearby the border of Thailand.
Yes, yeah. So if you look at some of the industrial parks, they try to create that like a modern city living. So when you put it all into one area, it's much easier to provide all the services and the infrastructure. And so it's more likely to attract people to go there. Also, you can give incentives what you would like to give to attract people to go there easier because you say that it's in this zone. Now, I think what goes hand in hand is the other infrastructure development, which is the train system and the road system, which I think is also the plan. And we can see in Germany, we first had the division between Eastern Europe and Western Europe.
Yes.
So there were many good north-south connections, same as here in Thailand and on this region, but very little east-west to the Eastern European part. And now this infrastructure has all been built, so it's much more easy to communicate. And they have been building in a modern way. And it has been enabling all these countries to be more prosperous. So I think we just have to look at Europe. And all the European countries have become so much more prosperous with the EU. Now people look at the euro as a problem also, but let's not look at maybe a misconceived common currency as saying that the EU model hasn't worked out well. It has worked out tremendously well. So this will naturally happen. So I think they always think that the government is supposed to give us a great framework so that people can do what they want to do because they will find out how they can be happiest, how they can get the best commercial value, how can they live best. So if we have good roads, we have good railways, we have the economic zones, we have a good system of government, and especially nowadays what I like to stress, we have a good system of education. Then we will really prosper. So one thing I really appreciate is that the government, the chambers of commerce, the industry associations now understand that the dual vocational training system is the best in the world, and they look at Germany to help to provide that. And I read that the Ministry of Education is looking at having half of all the vocational students going to the dual system. And I know also that the Prime Minister is very supportive of it, or the
Yes.
education unit. So I think this is exactly the right way, and this is one of my personal greatest wishes, and I've been working on that for many years now to try to support to make that happen. And the best example, I think, is the Chitlada Vocational School, where this has been happening for Her Royal Highness Prince Mahachakri Sirinthorn for many years. If we can do that and bring that also into the rural areas where already some of the really good universities are, then this concept should work out really well. So education, these special economic zones, also have to see where do we get the people from, what are their educational backgrounds.
Yes.
So we need to have that go hand in hand. So all the better. So if we have especially good education system in these zones, then people are also happy to go, because you want to have the well-educated, both workforce, but you also want to live in a well-educated environment where there's mutual understanding.
So what you have said is exactly what this government want to see happen in Thailand, particularly education. The Prime Minister encouraged people to rethink about their education instead of going to the university and graduated with the degree. He encouraged people to take a look at the other direction, for example, to vocational training college, for example, that would allow people to be able to work, to find jobs, not to be unemployed. Because right now Thailand needs the skilled labor at the
Yes.
moment. So therefore, I heard that there are a close cooperation between Thailand and Germany
Yes.
in terms of education, cooperation on education, particularly the dual system on vocational study or training.
Yes, and this will go very, actually when people look at why is German industry so successful, so there are some factors which I think exist. Yeah? One factor is you have entrepreneurs in many different parts of the country who will build their factories there. Then you have highly educated engineers who don't go out at night, but they're still interested in reading and becoming better engineers. And you have this fantastically qualified workforce who went through 3-4 years of vocational training. So this thing combined gives the basis. The other part is also, I think, it's a little bit different Germans, Swiss, Finnish, or Swedish or so to some other nations, is when people work, they work. But then they have lots of holidays, and then they go home, they do their own thing in their gardens. But while they're at work, they work. And I think if people, when they work, have that attitude, while we work this time, then you get really high productivity. You don't have to have that many hours. You just, when you work, you work. When you work, you don't think that I play or I do internet, I do all kinds of things, which many nations do when we work. And I think Thai people are 100% capable and willing to do so. We see it in our power plants. They are exactly like that. So they have a happy family life. They have their own life outside work, but when they work, they work.
Well, talking about the government endeavor, many ask the question about what direction Thailand is moving to regarding being full democracy or not, something like that. And I, as the deputy government spokesperson, have explained to many people, particularly the international media, on the situation in Thailand that this is temporary situation in Thailand, and we are not moving away from the core value of democracy. But what we are doing is we are trying to restore the fully functioning democracy in Thailand, and this has been a lot of many people asking this kind of question lately. So, in your opinion, this kind of thing, this kind of advice from outsider, that Thailand should be moving to that direction, moving to this direction, should do this, should do that, and try to say that this is what Thailand should be, and try to apply the concept of one size fits all for Thailand. What is your opinion on that?
I think what's important is trying to understand each other. So when we look at foreign governments, they have two audiences. One is their audience at home, so they always have to portray a certain picture of what they think is right. And the other is how they interact with us, or how they want us to proceed or so. So, of course, when you talk to democratically elected leaders, they think, and their system works, and they think their system is the best. Actually, for me, the best democratic system is in Switzerland, but they have been doing that for 800 years. And I think it's a much superior system than we have in Germany. Germany also works, but Germany found its own way. You have to also, Germany also has to see, we went through kind of many phases until we're here. And I mentioned before, I think the constitutional monarchy system works really well in all countries where it's applied. So I have also full understanding for all the politicians in Thailand who want to give their best and do their part. At the same time, we have to see that Thailand always comes back to democracy. So we have to see what kind of democracy. So personally, I love the Swiss democracy. Why do I love the Swiss democracy? Because every person is so fully accountable and so highly responsible. So they know that everybody has to try to do the best for the country. And in a country like Switzerland, when you come to power or in a position of administration, you feel it as a sense of responsibility. You think, I have to now perform best and I have to forget my personal interest. But in many countries, it is not the case. So I would hope that in Thailand it goes in the direction that whoever has authority, whether it's on the village level, whether it's on the provincial level, whether it's in a sport association, whether it's in the government, that they have the best interests of the country in mind first, and their personal interest comes behind. If you are in a private capacity, then you can have your private things. But the moment is, like say, Satana is a public service, then you can only have the public service. That must come first. And I'm sure that one day we will get there. And I'm convinced that the current government is going into that direction to have that happen. But in Thailand, we know we are going to a democracy. And I would really wish that the EU would make this free trade agreement with Thailand, which would be for the benefit of the people of Europe and of the people of Thailand. And we should, I think, when we do something as a country, we should always look at the total population and not only as some principle from which we know that the direction of the country already going in that direction. So I'm convinced that Thailand will become a democracy soon again.
So, Kuling, I also would like to share with you the stance of the government regarding, lately Thailand being, placed back to tier 3.
Yes.
And lots of criticism has been made, but for us, for the Thai government, we have seen that every crisis there is an opportunity. Therefore, we take this as an opportunity for Thailand. All things that been pointed by the U.S. were taken into account. We would fix the problem according to what the U.S. suggests. And of course, what we are trying to look, what we are looking is the relationship between the two countries. We do not want this kind of thing to jeopardize the relationship between Thailand and the United States. This is one example that Thailand is now looking at the foreign affairs direction. We try our best to honor the obligation to fulfill all commitment we have with the foreign country. This is the way that the Thai government thinking regarding the foreign policy at the moment. Therefore, we just want to send a message to our international community that this is a temporary situation in Thailand, and eventually Thailand would be moving back to where we were in the past, and of course we will have the mature democracy in Thailand. You have mentioned Switzerland. You admire the Swiss democracy. You have said that all people, are accountable, and of course you mentioned about rights and responsibility. This is where exactly this government want to lead the country or to move the country into that direction or that location.
Yeah, I'm glad that you say that. I'm really, I think everybody will be glad to do that. And maybe, I think especially as a compassionate nation, we could not possibly allow the trade of people. We could not possibly allow improper fishing. And we could not possibly allow wildlife trading. Mm-hmm. I think maybe one of my major concerns in the moment is, can we save the tigers? And Thailand is one of the 4 or 5 only countries in the world that can do that. And I would really like to tell you as a member of the government, please save the Thai tigers. As B.Grimm, we support the World Wildlife Fund to help save the tigers, and I really hope that you would put a great effort as a government to do that. And I know that the government's already trying that, but this is something where we can also show the world that when we have a world heritage, which the tigers are, we really look after them well. Mm-hmm. And I see the government is now trying to do all this, what you mentioned about that. And maybe it's for the current government easier than for democratically elected, because every process takes so much longer.
Well, thank you so much, Harald Link, from listening to what you have said. You've been caring so much about Thailand, about the Thai people. And also, I have learned that B.Grimm, give back to Thai society, give back to Thai people a lot. Would you mind sharing with us about your projects?
So, Her Royal Highness Prince Mahachairki Sirinthorn, introduced the Little Scientist House project from Germany here, which makes small kindergarten children enjoy science in kindergarten, and that will go into school. So my daughter got strongly involved in that, and we try to support that, and we have a number of schools or kindergarten which we support. Then the Princess Mother's Charity Fund, in which my aunt and my uncle were co-founders, we give nursing sponsorships. So we tried scholarships, so they will remember Her Royal Highness for all she did for Thailand, and they become really good and responsible nurses. So that's what we like to do. The vocational training is really something that I also personally have been doing for many years, because in the beginning it was practically impossible to have the system in Thailand. Mm-hmm. So Princess Sirinthorn set up her own school, the Chilada School, or the Royal School. And then it was difficult for a company to have somebody to train and send him to the vocational school. But fortunately, one of the former governments, they opened the way to do that, and now that is possible, and we have dedicated one of our senior management, who's the president of the German Thai Chamber of Commerce, in cooperation with the Thai chambers and so on, to promote that system. So now there are many more companies coming into that system, and I think that will be a snowball and will continue. We do a lot, I think, for classical music, because when I came to Thailand, there was practically no classical music, European classical music. And if you want to attract foreign investment and you have no classical music, you have no concerts, they don't want to come. Yeah? There's some things that you have to have. You have to have international school, you have to be able to buy bread, you have to have the BTS system, You have to have concert and music. Otherwise, they think this is not a country where they have a normal life.
Okay.
And you see nowadays, everybody loves to be in Thailand. People don't want to leave because everything you have this. And this is part, culture is part of what you need. So sport, and we do a lot for the equestrian. Thailand, there are not many countries in the world. Actually, I think we are top 25 with international events. We highly respected in this region. We send riders to the Olympic Games, to the Asian Games, and one very prominent Thai businessman told me that, why do you think is China promoting the riding sport so much? I said, I don't know. He said, because it shows that they're a civilized country. And that is a Chinese person who said that. So we are quite advanced in equestrian, and we are, at least we're highly respected and people notice us. So I think this also is good for the Thai image. And recently we were asked about whether we can support tiger protection, and I wasn't aware that is in such a danger. And I think this is something we can really do more. So then we do have environment issues, and what we really try to do is, where in whichever community we are, we try to have a happy relationship with them and see whatever we can to promote that community to prosper.
Indeed, you have done so many things in Thailand for the Thai people. And of course, 137 years, you have so many experience. B.Grimm have many experience. And I believe that there would be some information that perhaps can be your message to the Thai people. What would that be?
I think what Thai people really understand well is that happiness is really important, and that Thai people are so generous to foreigners living in Thailand. I want actually tell the Thai people that every Thai can be just as good as the best anywhere in the world. It's just if we put our heart to it, and we work with dedication, and we work with good cooperation, and try to enjoy learning, and try to enjoy working, look at work as being something fulfilling, and do something we're strong and we like. I think Thailand can go wherever we want to go. There's no limit.
Well, thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much for spending your time 2 weeks with us. And of course, from listening to Kun Link, everything that he shared with us is from the family experience and his own experience that I believe is valuable for the Thai people and the foreigner. He assured everyone who viewed this program about stability in Thailand. He told the Thai people to be patient. He told the Thai people about the future of this country, about the future of the new generation in this country. This is the good thing that he, a Thai citizen who come from somewhere far away, value everything we have in our country. I think this is one of the wonderful lessons and that wonderful time that Kun Link have shared with us. Thank you once again. Thank you very much, Kun Link, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.